Monaco 64 here, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Some of you have asked to see Billy close up. So we've got Billy close up. We're going to have to wait, Billy, for people to come on. Nobody yet. This live stream. Hi, everyone. So we got Billy here today. Some of you asking me to bring Billy closer to the screen. So it's May 22nd, 2018, Tuesday. So Billy is just saying hi to you guys. Say hi, Billy. Hello. You can go back now. One of the reasons I'm doing this video or this live stream is that I saw something today on Zero Hedge, an advert, and it said 9% income government guaranteed. And I thought, wow, UK government guarantee. And I thought, how can something be guaranteed by the UK government and they're paying 9%? Because UK rates are like less than 2%. So I clicked on it, and so it was called UK Investment Hub, and they said earn up to 9% interest per annum, government-backed sector fixed rate bonds. And I investigated a little further. I had a look at the company. I Googled the company's name, which was UK Investment Hub Limited. I got all the information. I found that they have been incorporated for just over a year, and the main director is like 25 years old. So I thought, wow, this doesn't sound very good, because they say that they have a 3-year track record. Then I investigated a little further, and actually the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK, has come out today, which is weird because I saw this. And they say, we believe this firm has been providing financial services or products in the UK without our authorization. And even in the literature and their website, it says they are regulated by the FCA. So you need to really be careful. But the thing that really got my attention was the high rate of return, 9% per annum, and government-backed. So that's one way to detect a scam. And I try to call their phone number, and that's been like the services, you can't get through anymore. So Zero Hedge adverts. So you got to be careful with these things. So let's see who's here today. Gold Day, Tom Manley. Yeah, gold is doing fairly well today. The markets are strange. Let's see where we are right now. While gold is down slightly, it's been up most of the day. The currencies have come back down a little bit. Stock market not moving too much. Let's see, the 10-year yield is starting to move up a bit here. It's at, well, it was at 308 earlier. It's now 307. So let's see who's here. Anonymous, hello, Anonymous. Universal Vibes TV, after Monaco and Billy. Afternoon, Monaco, good afternoon. Hi there. Hi from Soviet Kanukistan. I guess that's Canada. I listen to David Janda. I don't know if you know him. He's a medical doctor in the States. He's got like a YouTube channel, and he always introduces himself and says, I'm in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is funny, I thought. Tom Manley, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Yes, Tom, that's the other thing. You really need to be careful. And the thing about this is that it was on Zero Hedge as an advert and government-backed. You got to be really, really careful with these things. Dow going up. Let's see what Ignacy actually. The Dow right now is down 11 points, so not doing much. The stock market. Let's see. Mark Jones, be careful of all the GPDR compliance emails. Ask you to log in and confirm details Always check this from the genuine source. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. The data protection stuff, it's a bit annoying. I try to just delete all of those things. Crypto Bird Dog, good day, friends. Good day, Crypto Bird Dog. James Scott, come on, Manny, do some one-to-one lessons. Yes, James, I will do some if you want. Why don't you send me a message through my channel and maybe give me your tell me what you're looking for, and then maybe we could set up a Skype appointment and we could negotiate things. Billy, come here, boy. Bring Billy again for those who haven't seen him. There you go, Billy. So there you go. There's Billy. Say hi, Billy. Billy's got his tongue out. Let's see what else we got. Free Billy. Yeah, Billy is free. He's fine. Daniel Hermanson. Hey, I love your videos. I watch them every morning when I wake up. Minnesota. Well, thanks, Daniel, for following all the way from Minnesota. Operation Freedom, Dave's channel. Yeah, Dave Janda. I like him. I saw a video he made, I think yesterday, about Donald Trump, if Donald Trump is actually for real or not. And I think he made some good points. Hi, Timmy Chonga. How are you doing? Yeah, Billy's having a good day today. It's really nice outside. Oh, yeah, the girlfriend likes to see Billy in the morning, Daniel says. Hi, Mary. What are your thoughts on Peter Schiff? Well, Peter Schiff, I agree with a lot of what he says about the dollar and the system. He was right in 2006 and 2007 about housing. I guess for the last few years, it's been difficult for the last few years because the market has been basically hijacked by the central banks, so they can paper over everything. So yeah, but I still think he's I don't know too much about what he thinks about cryptocurrencies. He's kind of said like given it an overall view of it. I don't think he's looked at it in detail. Dan, man, do you think big banks dumping 1 billion gold was the result of an Egyptian billionaire putting half his net worth in gold? No, I don't think he's got anything to do with that guy. I listened to his interview. He's got a lot of investment in mining, so I'm not too sure. Jake Haslam, nice dog. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Billy is really nice guy. I watch your videos all the time. Very helpful. Can you suggest a good online broker for trading? Well, in the UK where I am, I use IG.com. They do spread trading, but they also are brokers, and it's all online. Sometimes you can call them as well. I think in the US, I've used Charles Schwab before. I don't know how good they are anymore, but yeah, in the UK, IG.com. That's who I recommend. John Graham, do you think that the 2006 rise in spot of precious metals was an indicator of the wealthy's awareness of the coming 2008 crisis? Could have been. A lot of, I read some of the stuff from Martin Armstrong before he got out of jail. He was writing from prison, and he said that there's like a club, and like Warren Buffett was part of this club. Very, very wealthy people, well connected to the central bankers and treasuries, and that they get inside information on currency moves, on stock market moves, and they get ahead of the game. So it could be. It could be. I wouldn't be surprised. GG, the UK government gave 500 billion to bail out the banks in 2008. Surely they won't have enough to bail them out this time. No, I don't think so. And I think they guaranteed even more. And they put all that debt, they guaranteed basically also all the bank's liabilities, but they've put it all off balance sheet. So actually, the national debt is underestimated in the UK. Damien Wright, Mario, are the banks heavily invested in the oil industry? Is it in their interest for a higher price and drive investment in shale oil? Yeah, a few years ago when oil dropped below 30, a lot of banks were had an exposure, and they're starting to get into trouble. So maybe I'm not sure if they still are exposed a lot to shale oil, but definitely this oil price move would help. V Bjorn, hi V Bjorn, how do you think Italy will become a big problem for EU now with the new politics? Uh, Italy is ranked third in gold reserves countries list as a key player. Yeah, I definitely think it is a problem. I've been reading a little bit about that, the political situation in Italy. And one analyst I read about or listened to, I forgot who it was, basically saying they've kind of blackmailed the EU by saying we're not going to leave the EU or the euro, but you got to let us spend all this money. And he thinks that I think it was Charles Warren. He thinks Charles Whalen, sorry, Investment Research Dynamics. Charles Whalen. He's a former New York Fed guy. He's quite clever, and he writes stuff on the internet. And he said that Italy's trying to do what Trump has done: increase government spending, increase the debt to kick off their economy, and that would be a problem for the EU, definitely. GG, I think JP Morgan stockpiling silver is a sign that even they know the monetary system is going to crash and crash badly. I agree. And I think last year, Jacob Rothschild or Lord Rothschild, he runs an investment trust. It's his own trust. It's not the Rothschild Bank Trust. And he said in the annual report or semi-annual report that the experiment in central banking that we've had in the last 10 years is, how can I say, is unheard of, and that he's concerned about it. So yeah, even Lord Rothschild is concerned about it, or Jacob Rothschild. Richard McCorkindale, I wish it would hurry up and crash. I'm tired of waiting for the doom. Well, I think about that as well, Richard, but I think we need to actually be patient and just prepare and do the best you can. We can't think, oh, crash or crash. There's going to be a lot of people hurt. And as long as you're prepared and just live your life normally and not try to, to think, oh, I want it to crash so I can make loads of money, gold will go through the roof. I think we need to play it, not think like that. I don't think it's healthy. And I have thought like that in the past. And I remember in 2008, I was sitting on my desk in the city, and I thought, and it was collapsing, but then they saved it, of course. As oil recession, gold and silver in your hands. Yeah, the video this morning I made about the commodities, it looked like they're starting to move. The CRB has been pretty much flat, going up slightly in the last 2 years. But with oil picking up now, it could all kick off. Timmy Chonga, hey everyone, let Maneko know you appreciate him. Hit the like button. Oh, thanks, Timmy Chonga. Timmy, I think you were in that chat. Do you remember that chat we used to have? I haven't been to it a few years ago. Remind me. BC Joey, the bond yields is on the way up again. Yeah, yields are still fairly elevated. Italian bond yields have gone up as well a lot. GG, do you think that silver coins will no longer be exempt from capital gains tax if it becomes a new currency instead of fiat currency? Well, are you talking about the US? I mean, if it does become a new currency, there won't be any tax on it. You can't really tax money. Huddle Club, Hyman Echo, do you think cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are a good solution to the old financial system? And do you think people are going to move their money to these markets? Uh, yeah, I think so. You know, cryptocurrencies, the blockchain, there's so many projects out there. I think it's already evolving into a parallel system. And of course, the central bankers, politicians, they don't like it and they think they can ban it and impose their own blockchain and cryptocurrency. But if people don't adopt their stuff, they might not have a choice. But very difficult to say. I mean, I like EOS. I think EOS is very interesting. And I won't talk too much about it, but I recommend. There's so much on the internet to, and the reason why I like it is because there is a track record with BitShares, and especially Steemit, which I've used for almost 2 years. Damon Wright, Mara, do you have a magic bond yield rate for a stock market sell-off? I think we're already starting to see, a stock market sell-off this year. We are off the highs quite a bit. We were at 26,600. But I think it's more, this 3% is really important. I think we could see a stock market sell-off if the yield accelerates. And what do I mean by that? Well, if we see it start going up 10 basis points a day for like a week, and in a week we go from 307 where we're now to like 350, then you get worried. But if they can kind of contain it here and like not let it go up too fast, they might be able to avert that. So that's why I'm going to keep an eye on it. And if recently, I think it was last week or the week before, we went up like 12 basis points. So right now it's kind of calmed down, but I don't think they're out of the woods yet. So the magic rate, I think it's all right. We've gone above it. It's the 3%, just above 3% rate. Jack Haslam, what is the risk of owning silver CFD instead of physical silver? Can they cancel the contracts? Yeah, of course. I work for futures brokers and investment banks, and CFDs are contracts for difference, and they're OTC contracts written by brokers. It's completely different than owning physical silver. That brokerage goes bust, like MF Global. Your CFD is history. You can use it, Jake, for speculating, but it's not insurance. Crypto Bird Dog, Swift Network replacement with Ripple Network. BC Joey, Iceland let the free markets take its course. They didn't die. I agree. Some people argue, but Iceland is a small country, 300,000 people. I don't think that's applicable, the size. I think they did the right thing. I agree with you, BC Joey. But the people in charge, the bankers, the politicians, a lot of people, these politicians, they don't know about the things we know, so they leave it to the bankers and they trust them. Mark Carney says Brexit vote has cost us £900 per person. What a joke. James Scott. Well, Mark Carney is he's trying to put the spotlight on something else. It's got the reason why the public in the UK are worse off is because of inflation and all the debt that had to be created to bail out, the banks that he worked for, or the bank, the people, in the city of London and Wall Street. Brexit is, I've said it before, during the Brexit vote and prior to the vote, I made videos saying that they were going to use Brexit as a scapegoat. It's got nothing to do with Brexit. It's all to do with the size of government borrowing and spending, and the bailout of the banks. Havoc's Horst 120. Do you think the Petro yuan's success will hurt the dollar soon? Yeah, it is. I think it will. I made a video a few days ago, and I was really surprised how the futures, the yuan oil futures, has picked up really quickly. It's been around for just under 2 months, and it's already trading 150,000 lots a day, or even last week it traded one day 250,000 lots. And let me tell you, that's a lot of volume. And I worked in the futures market. So, yeah, it could have an impact. Also, the geopolitical, what's going on in geopolitics could push. Even Italy is saying that they want to work more with Russia and the Far East. The EU also and the US are kind of, with Trump. So it could push, and Iran as well. They're saying that they want to deal in euro for their oil, and I think they might try to push to sell more oil to China. They only sell 8%, I think, of Chinese oil consumption, so they could increase a lot more of their sales to China to kind of not be so dependent on the US dollar. Gigi, I think people, especially in the UK and US, are naive about possibility of hyperinflation like Venezuela. People in the West are the least prepared for it and would therefore panic the most. I agree. I think, it's not that the closest we've come to hyperinflation in the US and the UK was in the 70s when we had double-digit inflation. The Europeans know more about it, Germany, France, Italy. But basically, I think people think that you can only get hyperinflation if the economy is doing really well, but it's actually the opposite. When the economy slows down and there's a loss of confidence in the currency, it could come like overnight. That's what it is. T. Hamilton, let's see. Richard McCorkindale, if governments put caps on personal ownership, people would lose their minds and riot like you've never seen. Is that a cap on how much precious metals you can own? Or I'm not sure. T. Hamilton, thank public schools for this. Yeah, in the UK, they're called state schools. Actually, in the UK, public schools are like the prep schools, and they're really expensive. But I agree, government, schools, they don't, they kind of brainwash the children. M640, is it true that scientists predict 2018 will be a bad year for earthquakes because the rotation of the Earth has slowed slightly? I haven't really looked into that, so I couldn't comment on that. Anonymous, farmers become billionaires in hyperinflation, question mark. I don't think they become billionaires, but they survive quite well, I think, and they probably do increase a bit of their wealth. Damon Wright, Mario, I watched Martin Armstrong, I think you mean, say if euro continues to fall or collapse, investment would run to the US dollar. Surely that would cause mass inflation in the US and tank the market. Well, it depends in what kind of I'm not sure if it would go all to the dollar. It could go into commodities. That would cause inflation. If it goes into US treasuries, it would probably help. That would bring yields down, but I'm not sure. People keep saying that the euro is going to collapse. They've been saying it for years, and it's still holding on. And also, if the euro were to collapse, you'd get all the currencies back. The Deutschmark would go through the roof. So, and the Italian euro would go down. The Portuguese escudo would go down. I don't think it would make much difference. Of course, the dollar will go up, but so would the Deutschmark and the Dutch guilder. Let's see. Vbjorn, do you think global economy is weak because of China? If the West had all the manufacturing jobs we had, wouldn't the debts be more easy to be paid off? But I guess many want all the inexpensive stuff. Yeah, that's like a interesting thing. I've thought about that quite a bit. Yeah, it's great to buy the cheap stuff from China, even though a lot of times they don't last very long. But there comes a point where we can't afford them anymore because a lot of the well-paying jobs in the West are going abroad, and the way they've kept people their standards in the West is through credit. People have been borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, but there's comes a point where you can't borrow anymore. How do we detect scams in ICOs? No. Uh, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I haven't been doing too many more ICO reviews, sponsored reviews, because, uh, and I've been getting people asking me to do, and you just have to look at it. Maybe look at the people involved. Uh, Look at the idea. When it's very generalized, like they're saying we're going to do this and this, but there's no business behind it. I would focus only on the ICOs that are maybe from an existing company in the traditional market and they're going into the blockchain. Maybe that's the best thing, but always be very careful. Or maybe don't do the ICO. Wait for the ICO to come out, see how it goes, and if it does, usually it come off, and then you buy the tokens. You don't have to do the ICOs. Richard McCorkindale, I've been in both public and private schools. They teach pretty much the same thing, how to be a good, obedient worker. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, about that. Um, Schools. I mean, I think you need to think for yourself a bit. That's the thing. Danny Djokovic, what currency will be safe to trade in bullion for once times get tough? Uh, well, depends where you are, I guess. Um, I'm sure you'll be able to trade for quite a lot more of the currency of your country, but I wouldn't trade too much of it. Dan, man, have you thought about doing a super chat to make more money on your streams? I haven't looked into it yet, Dan. I haven't looked into it. I'll have a look. Super chat. What do you think about the universal basic income? Is it inevitable? No, I think it's never gonna happen. It's a bad idea, and it's silly. Jake Haslam, as a professional trader yourself, what university and course would you best recommend to pursue that career path? Uh, I actually wouldn't. I went to university. I had to have a degree in international relations and economics, but I would say that getting a job, trying to get a junior job with a bank or a brokerage, or is the best thing, and maybe just trading for yourself. That's the Jesse Livermore. Well, I'm not. I was a professional broker. I can trade, yeah, but I guess economics is the degree for you if you want to get into that kind of business. But don't listen to, get the degree in economics, but do you really, it's all Keynesian these days. I recommend you try to just start trading yourself and learn the most you can. Buy the books on trading and do it yourself. T. Hamilton, I recently took a trip to the Caribbean, talked to someone regularly interacts with Venezuelans. When asked about gold and silver, he said, "Who are you going to sell those to?" Uh, do you mean in Venezuela? Well, I mean, you can always get some, I would say being from Brazil, like when we had currency crisis, the dollar was accepted everywhere. But I was younger, so don't realize, but I didn't know, but probably gold and silver will be accepted. There are rich Venezuelans, they will accept it. But yeah, if you go into a shanty town in Caracas, uh, People can't even afford it. Daniel P, which currencies is the best to hold? The Swedish currency lost 25% in value to euro in 5 years. Well, Daniel P, the best currencies to hold are still gold and silver, in my opinion. Paper currencies, they're all sinking at different rates. Super chat is a must. You need to be paid for your time, Marty Andy Town. Yeah, I really I need to look to see how I do the super chat. Anyway, this live stream is monetized. I do get paid for it through adverts. Also, if you like to make a contribution, I'll put a link below in the description of this live stream will be recorded, and you can go into my YouTube channel and look in the description. You can donate through Patreon or PayPal. Yeah, but I will look into this super chat. Definitely. Wendy Bevan, in your view, best way to earn a little ongoing yield whilst hodling the metals? We've been trading stocks of gold and silver companies, gradually increasing physical with profits. Your take. Thank you. Or gracias. Well, I guess I don't know where you are, Wendy, but in the UK, there's some decent blue chip companies that pay a fairly good dividend. You could put some money into dividend paying companies, like you can get like FTSE 100 companies 4 or 5%. And you need to work out what percentage of your assets you want to put in there. Maybe put it through an ISA as well, as it's tax free. M640, do you think Bitcoin price is overvalued now? Difficult to say. I think, well, it's a very limited supply of Bitcoin, 16 million. And the more and more people get involved, it's probably undervalued in the long term if cryptocurrencies and the blockchain are here to stay. Am I saying you should buy it? No, it could still go back down to like 6 or 5,000. BC Joey, I have an MBA from one of the best schools in the Midwest and have studied markets for years. Today's markets make no sense at all. So much manipulation. I agree, BC Joey. And I remember when I was a broker in the city, I think it was in the late 90s or early 2000s. I don't remember exactly. And there was a crisis in like Pakistan, and their stock market like shut. But like you look at the screen at their index, and it was like the same level. It was like and it was, and they were like saying you can only trade at this price. But then when they reopened, it collapsed. So, but nowadays it's amazing. All these central banks, they've hijacked the markets. The Maestro. Hey, Brian, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Danny Djokovic asked, my family has 2 small 6-unit buildings in Brooklyn, New York, and the price has gone up almost 6-7 times what my family paid for it. Both mortgages paid off. How much of a loss will we'll have to take when it pops? If you don't have a mortgage on it and it's all paid for, why do you really care if it pops? You've got the physical assets. I think if you look at all the very rich people, they've got loads of property. If the market pops, maybe if you have some liquid assets, buy more. That's what I say, and keep a hold and keep that property. You might want to, if you're not that liquid right now, might want to sell some to have some liquidity, but if there's no mortgage, why would you want to sell if you can keep running the places? Billy McFarland, what happens when you sell Bitcoin or EOS in your wallet? Can you get gold, currency, or dollars? Uh, you can always exchange Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ethereum for cash. I mean, I have a card here in the UK that I received the other day, like a prepaid card called Wirex, and I can spend that. You know, I went out today and I bought a few things and I used the card. So I can't use EOS directly. I'd have to sell the EOS for Bitcoin and then store the Bitcoin in the Wirex card. And then if I want to spend it, I have to put it into pounds. But it's a Visa debit card. So it's quite easy, Billy. Fiona Whalen, I'm planning to move to Ireland and buy a house. Do you think real estate? What do you think real estate in Ireland? Well, I have a cousin who lives in Dublin, and he bought a property, I think, last year, and he took a big mortgage. So I think it could be in a bubble. They had a bubble a few years ago, you know, during the European debt crisis, and I think all the Irish banks went bust. And the company that had the most cash in Ireland was Paddy Power, which is a betting company. So um, it is probably a bubble. I haven't looked that closely, but again, it could inflate even more. You could buy it now, and it could double again. So I'm not gonna like stop you from doing it if you're not leveraging yourself that much, and if you just need a house to live. That's the way I think. Um, what else? Dan Mann, what do you think of MIT having a paper electronic cryptographic anonymous cash back in 1996? I haven't looked into that. I mean, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I mean, um, I guess they do look into these things. I guess you're trying to see if it's government is involved. I don't know. Anonymous, Maneko was curious, what kind of water filter do you have, if any at all? And do you always have glowing skin? Uh, looks like you came from an Ibiza resort. Well, I've been playing a lot of golf. My wife wasn't too happy last week. Last week I played Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and I played yesterday. And it's been really sunny here in the UK. So that's how I got my my color from the golf. I don't know. We don't have a water filter. The water here in the UK doesn't have chlorine, at least where I live. Let's see. SAC Media One. Sash Media One. Property is the only way to make money and upkeep your wealth in the UK. Well, it has been for the last 20 years or so, but I don't think it will be forever. Well, I guess it has for longer, but you have to be prepared to go through the ups and downs. I guess if you have had a property in the UK for the last 50 years, you've held your wealth quite well. Liquid, in the liquid form, because houses are not that liquid, they're not really easy to sell. I would say gold and silver still have done well as well over the last 50 years in the UK. Crypto Bird Dog, awesome golf when you can. Yeah, I mean, golf is really, I've played since I was 15. It's my hobby. Um, let's see. Hank Kennedy, hey Maneko, I've been in peer-to-peer lending as a lender, and I hold precious metals to back those. Curious if you have a thought. Not much. I remember years ago when they started the peer-to-peer lending, and I tried it a little bit, but not really. I try to stay away from that. I try to follow mantra of never a borrower or lender be. I know that's the way I think. But yeah, if you're gonna, I mean, by backing, I think you mean that you've lent out some money to people, but at the same time you keep some physical gold and silver. That's not a bad thing. David Buckner, hey, I heard that gold and silver will absorb the debt and skyrocket in price. Well, yeah, David, that's James Sinclair always says that eventually that's what sovereign governments do uh, to uh, to balance their books. They do it through gold and silver. So when they're, and will of course, they're not going to announce it when they're going to do it because it would defeat the purpose. That's maybe why they keep it so manipulated to discourage people from being in it. And then when it's the right time, they'll do it. Monica, good evening. Serious question. When you worked as a trader, did you see a lot of autistic traders? No, not really. The thing about autism, I remember in the 80s, it was Rain Man, that movie. That was the first time I heard about autism. And but in the last 20 years, a lot of the kids are being diagnosed with autism. No, I didn't see any traders or brokers autistic. Damon Wright, Mario, how bad are the emerging markets? Are they carrying too much debt, or is it the dollar rise problem? We will see more countries collapse like Argentina. Yeah, that always seems, it could be, the a harbinger for the whole world, because usually when you have financial crisis, uh, it starts at the periphery, and the emerging markets are the periphery. And everyone, including developed countries, depend on the dollar because dollar is still the reserve currency. So a lot of the liquidity that their currencies are also backed by dollars. So yeah, it could get worse, but it could spread as well. Uh, T. Hamilton, thanks for your early response. A follow-up question is about the Act 22, Act 20 in Puerto Rico. No federal income tax to the IRS. However, the crime on the island could be volatile. Any insight? Yeah, Puerto Rico is a territory, not a state, so there is no federal income tax. But I'm sure there are local taxes there. I don't know much more about Puerto Rico, but I know a lot of people are moving there, especially like they call themselves crypto billionaires. I don't know if they're still billionaires. But I don't really follow platinum too much. But it should do well as well if all commodities go up in precious metals. Harold Smith, years ago, I was worried my product would contaminate the water supply in the plant I was inspecting. The foreman assures me stuff they put in makes stuff look like candy. Think all of the pipe. So what would 1 ounce of silver buy in Venezuela right now? Probably quite a bit. I don't know. Bread and biscuit. D. Mitch, looks like the dollar is dropping its trend line it has over the past 10 days. Billy McFarlane, hey, I like your wallpaper. Looks rich and cozy. Don't forget sunscreen. Yeah, I don't like sunscreen, but maybe I should put some on. Bars or coins? I don't think it matters. It's up to you. I have some bars. I would say I have more silver coins than bars. For gold, bars are expensive. Usually they're like 50-gram bars. You can get little one. I have some little gold bars, but I'd prefer coins. Uncle Dadley 75. Hi, I've talked to you before. I live in the Southwest. We have some of the best water in the UK, and they add chlorine and fluoride. I have a water purifier. The residue left, I process. It's disgusting. Tap water is vile. Yeah, I don't drink too much tap water. I drink coffee a bit, and so you have to boil the water, or tea. Um, D. Mitch, I wish more people would listen about this stuff. I try to tell friends, but they just say I'm crazy. D. Mitch, I guess you're talking about the subject's recovery. Yeah, I know. Um, I was talking about these things about central banking, the fiat money system. Back in '02, I was talking to my colleagues in the city, and very few of them listened to me. Some of them listened to me, and but at the time I thought, oh, no one's ever gonna, look into this. But nowadays, my videos, all the followers I get, it's encouraging. I just need to keep talking about it. Anonymous heard Puerto Rico is the largest receiver of U.S. welfare, but low taxes of 3% for stock profits as opposed to 13, 15 mainland. Well, yeah, that's the problem. That's why I'm not into welfare or warfare state, because there's always people who abuse the system, and that's what Puerto Rico is doing as a part of the United States, not as a state but as a territory. They've kind of game the system. It's like an individuals in the UK game the system for welfare. It's only because the laws and the rules allow it. So I don't blame Puerto Rico for it. It's just that you know the rules and regulations allow it to do that. Huddle Club, do you agree that Belarus is a tax haven? And what country would you suggest for someone to base starting a business? Uh, I haven't really looked into Belarus. Um, and what country would you suggest someone to base starting a business? Well, this is a bit like my business now on YouTube and doing my videos and Steam it. I tried starting a. It depends what business it is. If it's a bricks and mortars, I guess you need to go to a poor developing country, because in the West, bricks and mortars, you need to compete. There's so much rules and regulations, but I can't really say which country is the best one right now. Haven't looked into that. Isle of Man is a nice place, or as you described, tax havens before. Yeah, it is. And a lot of times there are ways to run your own business from your own country, but set the company offshore. But it's expensive with the accountants and the lawyers, and you got to make sure you do it properly. Timmy Chonga, Belarus is still glowing from Chernobyl. Not my first choice. That's true. I mean, Russia as well, they have a flat tax. I think it's 13% income tax. It's quite business friendly and friendly for the individual. Russia. I've got someone here from Japan. Sorry, I can't read in Japanese. Konnichiwa. I know that, or shotomate kudasai. No, I don't know who's. Someone's written some stuff here in Japanese. Patrick, hi Mario. I live now within the national park. Drink filtered water, or filtered well water. It's amazing and nothing like water I've drunk before. Yeah, I mean, I've lived and still visit Switzerland sometimes, and you go mountain hiking. You drink the water from the streams. They taste completely different from the normal water. What will 50,000 US cash be worth at a reset? Thanks. Um, maybe 5,000 of today's dollars. maybe a 10-to-1 reset. I don't know. Or a quarter. Bud McDonald, if you had an extra $10,000 to invest, what would you buy? Thanks again. Yeah, this is not advice. This is what I would do. I'm not telling you to do it. I would, yeah, and you still have about 10 days to, I would get some EOS tokens. Yeah. And the rest, maybe get some gold and silver. And maybe keep, oh, you want to invest the whole thing? Yeah, get some physical gold and silver and some EOS tokens. I would do that. Do you think it would be a hard or soft Brexit? I think it's going to be a soft Brexit. There's so much, yeah, they've made a mess out of this. So I think it's going to, people are going to get so tired of it that they won't care. Jermaine A., in your opinion, what's the biggest problem to keep an eye on right now in the UK economy? Well, I think the UK economy is highly leveraged. And what I mean by that is everything is run on a lot of credit. And for now, interest rates compared to the US are still quite low. But yeah, if interest rates start moving up, you could see a lot of bankruptcies, and that could, yeah, keep an eye on interest rates. And by that, I don't mean the Bank of England interest rate, which they set like artificially, but at the 10-year yield, the gilt yield. You can Google 10-year gilt yield and keep an eye on that. I think it's still only 1.5%, and maybe also mortgage rates. What exchange did you buy EOS on? I didn't buy on an exchange. I get it from their, I contribute Ethereum to the address that they have on their website. And then when the period is finished, I claim the tokens and get it back in my wallet. But you can go to exchanges and buy it as well. The best place exchange to go to, I don't know, but if you go worldcoinindex.com and you click on EOS, it tells you all the exchanges it's traded on. So you can pick one there. So we've been on for 52 minutes. T. Hamilton, can you explain the benefits of buying EOS and staking before June rather than just purchasing it later? You can purchase it later as well. I'm not saying you shouldn't purchase it later, but some people think that a lot of people won't get their mainnet tokens because they won't register for it. So a lot of tokens that people thought they had, they won't have. So the supply is going to be a lot less, and people are going to rush to buy after the June 2nd. So, but there isn't any difference. I mean, I'll probably keep adding on to it for as long as I can because I think it's a good investment. RWG, I feel crypto's investment scams. Do you totally trust? And when you get ripped off, who do you go for help? I never go for help. I've lost money doing investments before, and I don't expect anyone to help me. I do my homework, and I'm prepared to. I know it's risky, and I've only got myself to blame. You know, you got to take responsibility for yourself. You can't go to. Why should you be able to go to anyone for help? If you don't want to lose money, don't invest. And there are a lot of cryptos out there that are scam, but personally, I like EOS because the people behind it have a track record. Harold Smith, have a great day, Mario. Off to get my weekly allotment of precious metals. Danny Djokovic, my 2 buildings have worth of $4 million US dollars. If I sold and bought 4 million in silver, would it make a difference in market? No, I don't think so. Maybe if you went to the COMEX, it could make a difference if you bought physical, yeah, but probably not that much. Uh, $4 million is a lot of money, but yeah, it's. I don't think it would move the market. You could try to do it on the COMEX, open an account with a broker and put the money there, and then buy some silver futures, and then tell the broker that you want to take physical delivery. If you're going to do that, make sure that they will do the delivery for you. But I don't think it would. Maybe if several, hundreds of people like you did it, then it could make a difference. But yeah. Sash Media, why do you not read or answer my questions? Sorry, Sash, what's your question? Because there's so many. I'm getting through to you. Yeah, I can see you. Can you ask the question again? Because it goes through on my screen and sometimes I miss the questions. Yeah, you can ask the question, Sash Media. I'm not ignoring you. It's just that there's quite a few people here, and sometimes I don't get every question. V Bjorn, do you still find Cliff High's Webbot reports interesting? Well, he hasn't really published any. I used to like the old ones where he talked about everything, but he doesn't talk anymore about the latest ones he did was all cryptocurrencies, and I don't think he's come out with any more. Sash Media, in your opinion, what else is as safe as silver, gold, and property in the UK? Um, uh, let's see, in the UK, well, I would say that those are pretty good. I mean, land as well. I think there are some schemes where you can buy like small land holdings with trees. They're like tax efficient. Um, but the other thing in the UK is to make sure that you have it tax free or ISA. But no, those are in my book. Those are quite good. Silver, gold, and property. Make sure the property is not leveraged. So, David Buckner, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around the whole world economic crisis and be prepared for the financial situation. Why won't these countries just back their currency with gold? Uh, yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, David? But unfortunately, uh, that's what Alan Greenspan said in his essay about gold and economic freedom. People that like big government, so that's politicians, bankers, socialists, uh, people who like wars, they don't like gold because gold uh, is like an anchor and it's like a gold is like a control mechanism. It doesn't allow politicians or the warmongers or the socialists to spend the public's money willy nilly because it's real. They can't print gold, and that's why they don't put us back on the gold standard. But yeah, I wish more people would know about that. And that's why I make these videos because I want to like kind of inform people. I'm not saying I know everything, but I think uh, not just for an investment. I don't follow gold just to become rich or anything like that. Is that I think is the best thing for society in general, and for to have smaller governments. Um, buy physical, yeah, always buy physical gold and silver. Timmy Chonga, there's not enough gold in the world to back currencies. Huh. Sorry, Timmy, I have to give you a. There's always enough gold. It just depends on the price. Um, you know, if gold wasn't money, if if there wasn't enough gold, it wouldn't be money. But there's always enough gold in the world for it to be money. It just depends on the price. If you price it at 20,000 an ounce, there will be enough. And you can't forget, Timmy, that gold is just money. And even in the gold backed system, you have credit. So you can have credit in a gold-backed system. So I don't agree with that. That's like at current value there isn't, Timmy, but a lot of the Keynesians, they come out and say we can't go back on the gold standard because there isn't enough gold, and they're completely wrong. Not at current values. Well, that's right. So I'm gonna wrap up now. I've been doing this for an hour. So I'd like to thank everyone who participated. I hope I answered most people's questions. I can't answer every question. They go through quite quickly. I hope, but I'll keep doing these in the future. I try to look into super chat as well. So I'll just answer one more question here. Someone's asking about EOS. John Corner, do you lose anything when you convert from Ether to EOS? No, you don't lose anything. That's how you pay for the EOS token, the ERC20 token. You send the Ether and then you claim the EOS. But after June 2nd, you need to, before that, you need to register so that you have your private key and public key, because the ERC20 tokens will become inactive and you will get the new mainnet tokens. So thank you, everybody. If you links below in the description. So thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys later, and take care. Bye.